Ferrari fragrances seem to be very popular, very inexpensive, budget, quality fragrances, and I decided, since they are so inexpensive, each one costs anywhere between $25 to $35 for a 100 ml bottle, I decided to buy 5 of them. 4 of them from the Ferrari Essence collection, and 1 from just the Essence collection, so I don't know what the differences are, but I have 5 of them, and I'm ranking them, I'm putting them in order of my favorite at number 1, and of course my least favorite at number 5. So if you want to find out about these fragrances, they're very inexpensive and cheap is keyword here, they are cheap. Please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. If this is your first time landing on my channel and you love watching fragrance reviews, finding out about new fragrances, discovering new brands, or maybe even existing brands, old brands, cheap brands, and you still haven't subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So I bought 5 Ferrari fragrances. I saw that they were really inexpensive and I went for it. A lot of people have recommended to me Bright Neroli, which is this one here, and I've also been recommended the Radiant Bergamot, which is this one here. So I decided to go ahead and buy 5 of them. I was going through the list and seeing what sounds best, which stood out. So I got Pure Lavender, Noble Fig, Radiant Bergamot, Bright Neroli, and Amber Essence. So these 4 are from a collection on Fragrantica. It says it's from a collection called Ferrari Essence Collection, and this one here is from a collection called Essence Collection. I don't know how confusing that is or not confusing that is. Plus this is a 2016 version of Amber Essence. There used to be a previous version in a clear bottle. Now it's in a reddish maroon colored bottle. So I love Neroli. That one was a given that I would get it. And I also like bergamot fragrances. That was a given I would get it. And I also like lavender fragrances, and that was a given I would get it. And then of course fig fragrances, and that was a given I would get it. So let's find out about these fragrances, because even though that's a great deal, I don't find them to be that quality of a fragrance. Right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that. There's something cheap about them, and even though they smell great, the wearing experience is kind of cheap. It's you can feel the fragrance breaking down. It comes off cheap, so the fragrances do come off cheap. They do smell great, some of them better than others, but the wearing experience is cheap. It doesn't have the quality, and I just was wondering, they have the name Ferrari on them, and they don't act like Ferrari fragrances. I mean, it doesn't act like the car for sure. They act like very, very inexpensive fragrances, and I wouldn't pay more than what I paid for these fragrances. They're worth this price. In fact, I think they're even worth somewhere around $20. Not even, the wearing experience is not quality, and I just wanted to get that off the bat and let you guys know, if you've been contemplating on buying these fragrances and you're used to something a little more expensive, I mean, then these might be, the experience will be cheap for you. So just a little something for you to find out right off the bat. So once I go through all the fragrances, I will tell you which order they are in. This is completely out of order right now, but we're going to start off with the Pure Lavender, and this is the fragrance here. You can see the color is, of course, the color of lavender, the flower from the herb. When you smell it, it smells nice. It smells like lavender. It reminds me of a cologne my dad used to wear in the 70s when I was very young. Just reminds me of the lavender. I think he wore Caron Porano. Well, definitely he did. But there's something else in here that reminds me of like a lavender cologne. But this one has bergamot, lemon, cardamom at the top. In the heart you have sage and lavender. In the base you have vanilla, patchouli, and cashmeran. And cashmeran pops up in 4 of the 5 fragrances I have here. So they must be using this note throughout the fragrances that they create. I'm not sure if they're in the other fragrances, but in 4 of them I did see cashmeran pop up. So this fragrance, I love the way it smells as I'm smelling it out of the bottle, but on me it's ultra metallic. It's so metallic that I almost don't want to wear it, if that makes sense to you guys. It's just sharp, It's ultra sharp. As soon as you smell it, the lavender comes through and then it goes metallic. I think it's the combination of herbal notes with citruses tend to do that with fragrances. They just go very, very metallic. Now underlying, it's a great, great lavender scent. I like it, but that sharpness kind of turns me off. Otherwise, this would have been my #1 choice out of all 5 of these. It's a great scent, just that metallic thing is actually not very pleasant. One other thing I want to mention is they're very light. They don't act very intense. And for the fragrances, I thought, they're a little on the niche side and they're unique designer fragrances from a car brand. I thought the performance might be better, but they're definitely light. The light experience, they don't last too long. And as I was saying earlier, because they smell cheap, they don't smell very expensive, the wearing experience is very, very cheap. It starts breaking up on you. You can smell the breaking up of the parts, like the notes are kind of separating. That's how the experience is with this. So even though it's a great scent, and if you're looking for a lavender, I would get it for that price. I would try and see if you can get it for like 25 bucks. At that price point, it's nice. Anything over 25, I think it's not worth it personally. But for a lavender, if you like that idea, like a men's cologne kind of a lavender fragrance, classic inspired, then this is definitely one to try. Again, just be warned, they don't smell expensive, they do smell kind of cheap. So, all right, so the second fragrance we're going to test today is Noble Fig, this one right here. Fig fragrances are awesome. I love anything with figs, but this one doesn't have the fruit. This one is all about the leaves. Let's spray some actually. So this one actually, to me, is very peppery. It's right off the bat very peppery, and then fig leaves tend to go peppery to me anyway. So what we have here at the top is the fig leaves right at the top with pink pepper and orange. So it's a very peppery start, and then in the heart you have clary sage and you have iris, and then finally here we go again with the cashmeran. In the base you have cashmeran and patchouli. I just want to say these are very, very cheap smelling fragrances. They're good, but from all the fragrances I've smelled in my lifetime and been doing this, these just come off very cheap, unfortunately. But if you're looking for an inexpensive fig fragrance, this would do it for you. But personally, I think the Old Navy Salt and Fig or Sea Salt and Fig, I thought was much better quality-wise fragrance than Ferrari's Noble Fig. But then again, it's decent. It's not 100% perfect, but I just wish I was getting something a little more better quality, especially with the name Ferrari on it. I mean, I'm expecting like ultra luxury fragrances here, but that's not what I get. I do like this one though. If I'm going to rank these, this might be at the top. Okay, so next we're going to one of my favorite summer notes, Neroli, and we've got bright Neroli here with Ferrari. And here what we've got going on is Yuzu, lemon, bitter orange at the top. Then we have orange blossom, neroli, and Sichuan pepper and rosemary in the heart. And then finally in the base you got vetiver, patchouli, and amber. So this one, to me this one starts out a bit on the cheap side, but then gets better and better and better. For me, I think I'm picking bright neroli as my #1 favorite from the entire 5 that I have. I just like the way it smells. You still have the cheapness. It does come off a little cheap, and it does give me that experience of the notes separating. Like it doesn't smell like it's blended well together. They're like kind of like clunky. That's a word to use. If you can get past that, I think the neroli is quite nice. And I especially like it because it's also blended with orange and lemon and yuzu at the top, so you got the citruses. And then it goes to the heart where you have both the orange blossom and the neroli. And then you have a little bit of that Sichuan pepper thrown in with the spicy rosemary. I think out of the 3 so far, this is my favorite. Then it would be the Noble Fig, and then it's the Pure Lavender. Wait, is it Pure Lavender? Yep, it's Pure Lavender. I keep forgetting the names of these fragrances for some odd reason. But I think the Neroli is quite good. So Bright Neroli is a good one. Again, I wouldn't pay more than $30 for these. I guess I wouldn't pay more than 30 on this one. These two, 25-ish, somewhere around there. Next, we're going with the Radiant Bergamot. This one, there was a lot of hype with this one recently. Well, not recently. It's maybe like a year ago. People were talking about this one. And this is the one that I was like most excited about, along with the Neroli. The others were like afterthoughts. And who doesn't love a beautiful, juicy bergamot fragrance? With this one, you've got bergamot, lemon, and ginger at the top. Heart, you've got rosemary, geranium, nutmeg. In the base, you have patchouli, labdanum, and oak moss. Now, to me, this is kind of a very boring bergamot fragrance. There's no juiciness. There's no refreshing quality. It's fresh, but there's like this spicy edge to it that's kind of weighing it down. And when I want when I want bergamot, I want the juiciness, and I don't get much juicy with this one. It's there, but it's more depth. And the depth of this one is actually also the clunky notes separating as well. I mean, for the quality, I wouldn't pay more than 25 for this. It's a 100 ml bottle. You go through it really fast because it's also super light. It's not very intense because these are Eau De Toilettes. And this one's Eau De Parfum, but this one actually is, this is the one that everybody was raving about and saying, wow, this is so good, so good. I still think this is probably not as good as this. These three are similar quality. This one's a notch above, so I would rank this still at number 1. And then this one at number 2, this one at number 3, this one at number 4. So the Bergamot actually is not my favorite. Even though this one's got that metallic edge, the sharp metallic edge, I still like this one more than this one. So, and as you noticed, we didn't have the Cashmeran pop up in the Radiant Bergamot, so that was missing, but it is popping up here in the Amber Essence. And then in this one, you've got Bergamot, Olibanum, Coriander at the top, and in the heart, you have Cashmeran, Cedar, and Nutmeg, and in the base, you got Amber, Patchouli, and Musk. So this one, even though it's called Amber Essence, it's more about woods than amber to me. So I guess it's the essence of amber with a very, very woody touch. And I think the Cashmeran here is ultra strong. So it starts out with, that bergamot, as I said, at the top, and then immediately you're getting like some Olibanum, like resinous, incensey smell with coriander, and then Cashmeran just takes over with the cedar and nutmeg. And then I think once the woody stuff fades is when you're left with the amber, patchouli, musk. But it's not an amber experience, it's more of a woody amber, and actually more woods than amber to me. But I do like this one. This is probably my second favorite next to the Bright Neroli. So these are my thoughts for the 5 fragrances that I purchased from the brand Ferrari. They're available at various discounters like FragranceNet and Fragrance X, and they're all ranging from the price of $25 to, I think it's 26 though, $26 to $35 for all of them, each separately. So I wouldn't pay more than $25 each if I were you, and if you're on a budget, these would work for you. But if you've been sampling niche fragrances and you have the money for niche fragrances, these are definitely going to come off cheap, because they do come off cheap for me. But those of you that are on budget, these work great. I think if I was looking for inexpensive fragrances, I would look somewhere else personally. These just kind of don't smell very quality to me. I don't know if they've gotten old. I don't know if they're just like gone bad. I just don't like the quality of these fragrances. And with the name Ferrari, I would expect much more quality. Now, if these were released and selling on the Ferrari website, I would never pay whatever the amount that they would be charging for whatever their regular suggested retail price is. They're definitely worth around the $25 mark. So here's my ranking. At number 5, Radiant Bergamot. At number 4, Pure Lavender. At number 3, Noble Fig. At number 2, Amber Essence. And at number 1, it's Bright Neroli. So that's my ranking for these 5 fragrances from Ferrari. Guys, do you have these fragrances? Do you like them? What do you think about the quality? Do they smell like great to you? Do they smell cheap to you? Do they not work with you? How long does it last on you? Again, all of these, including the EDP, are very, very light performing fragrances. They don't last a long time. I'm giving them somewhere around the ballpark of 4 to 6 hours, 4 in the lower 4-hour mark with these, and 6 hours with this one, still pushing it with this one. So they don't perform very well. And again, the wearing experience is very, very cheap. As I mentioned, you can see the notes separating. The blending is not smooth, except for this one. This one was much smoother. It works better. It actually kind of does act a little more expensive. And I guess I would say this one has the quality to go with it. I don't know if it's just because it's an EDP compared to EDT with these. I still rank this one higher because I like the way this smells more than this. So that's my ranking for these fragrances. But let me know your thoughts if you have these, if you like them, if you don't like them, if you think they work great on you, if they don't work great on you. And also let me know what other fragrances from this house are worth checking out. There was a Musk I was interested in and a few others, but I just thought I'd go with 5 and do a top 5 video. Anyway, guys, let me know if you have any questions or comments. Please list below. Otherwise, please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.